subscribers!
Hello!
We're back. It hasn't been a full week yet, but it's already looking to be a week on my end.
The only reason I remembered that it was Tuesday was because I knew we were recording, and I know Tuesdays are recordings, but it felt like Thursday. And I was like...
It should be a Thursday. I can't express how late I was at work and how annoyed I was that I was there that late. Because then it delayed not doing things at home, and I didn't want to delay our thing, and updating Chrome already interrupted.
I've never heard anyone like saying Chrome has delayed me by a full 9 minutes. Like, also Chrome, you're gonna occupy 9 minutes of time and not 10. Like, or round down, like do 5 minutes. Like, why 9? Why was it 9 minutes?
Well, funny you should harp on 9. Because there is this shopping complex, not to triangulate, but close enough to where I am, and the speed limit is not 5 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour because the parking lot, it is 9.
Are you serious?
I swear, it's not a joke. They literally have 3 of these. What's the joke? I'm missing it.
Who measured that? Like, did someone like decide that because of the shape of the land, like that speed would not force like centrifugal motions or something? Like, what the hell?
Girl, I don't know. I don't know. But speaking of lands, that does low-key remind me.
Wow.
How you like that segue?
Oh, it brings us into the title of today's episode, which is the 7 C's of Incontinence. You can derive from that what you'd like. We're going to derive the words for you. And then
maybe we're going to derive all day.
All day, all night. We're going to just jump right in to the C.
Last week we reviewed some terminology that will help us get on the same page in terms of our conversations when it comes to grammar and spelling, because all of us are at different levels of these things, and that's okay. So there are some more grammatical and syntactic elements that we definitely need to discuss before we talk about specifically Christina's plight of the day. / the week, I should say. So, first of all, we need to talk about affixes. Affixes, LOL. Affixes, thank you. I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong affixes.
I love a good emphasis.
So, I try. So, basically, affixes are a set of letters that that we are adding to the beginning or the ending of a root word. Sometimes you'll also hear it be referred to as a base word that it's being added to, and it modifies the meaning in some way, shape, or form. Now, it's okay if you have never heard of that. I'm sure you have definitely heard of the next two. Prefixes. So essentially, prefixes are a letter and sometimes a group of letters that are added to the beginning of the word to create a new word. I promise you know what this is, even if you don't know the actual word itself. So when we have the word untie, for example, you know how to tie things. Guess what? You also know how to untie things, or, gravity does it for you. And so un, that is going to be your prefix here. Then we have predetermine. Determine, we know what that means. That means that you have set your mind onto something. And so when we put pre in front of it, predetermined. Boom. I feel like the father in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Arachnophobia.
It is Greek.
Always Greek.
Actually, these are Latin, but... Latin.
That's why I said LOL, just kidding. Sometimes Latin.
No, that's okay.
Then we have suffixes, which can also be a letter or a group of letters that are added, but at this point, where we are adding to it, it is at the end of the word, of the root word or base word. And guess what? It creates a new word, as you already guessed, because you're so flippin' smart, bro. So when we have the word sweet, we add ness to the end of it. We get sweetness, the sweetness at the bottom of a pie. And I think somebody recommended that for a book club. Then we have beautiful, beauty, is the root word. We add full to it. We're like, ooh, we made it an adjective. Look at that. Essentially, having these attachments, these letter attaching to these root words, they alter the meaning. Sometimes, many times, it'll turn into or transform, from like an adjective to a noun, or even a noun to an adjective. And it can also create antonyms when we do that, meaning the opposite of it. Nobody panic. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing up antonyms. A word has a meaning, and then the antonym is its opposite. So words that are opposites. Part of today's word discussion involves an antonym of a word. Maybe, maybe not. That's part of the explaining and complaining. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing all of these terms might feel like really boring. And if you learned all these things in school and you on purpose forgot them, like, I get it. You know, it feels very like, ugh, I know how to speak, I can read, I don't need all of this. But it supports us in our journey, our meta-linguistic journey, right? We all say things are so meta. Facebook is meta now, right? Meta is just thinking about something. So it enables us to think a little bit more in depth, more abstractly about linguistics, the study of language, or the way words and sounds interact and create meaning that we then understand and react to. So by knowing what an antonym is, it helps us understand the words we're about to discuss.
Last week, it was my week of torture, and this week it's Christina, because honestly, I just can't wait to hear what has tortured her in all this time. Tell us the word, friend. What is the word?
So our pair of words are continent and continent. When I first brought this up to Claudia, she thought I was obscene. And I am, but like, so are you.
I literally only heard of 7 continents. And not the one that she told me about. And I was like, tell me more, friend.
This will also be a discussion of a pair of homographs. So from last week, we discussed, or two, oh gosh, episode 1 actually, not last week. In episode 1, we talked a little bit, I think it was whatever, at some other point in time, we talked about homographs being words that are written the same. So like continent and consonant are written the same, they're spelled the same. Turns out that's about all they have in common. So this is a cautionary tale in utilizing like an etymology approach to try to figure out what a word means. So sometimes it doesn't work because maybe some root words were really, really similar, as in the case of today's explain and complain. And they ended up creating English words that are identical but have completely different meanings. I have a hunch, after we discuss and explain away these words, I think Claudia is going to try to still connect the two. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, I got to use my English degree in some way, you know?
Well, just you wait.
You already know my bullshit degree. I have a bachelor's in bullshit.
Well, Claudia, despite your bachelor's, and you probably learned the actual word consonant way before that, right? So like you said, the 7 consonants, the 7 C's. I don't think there are 7 C's. Wasn't that like, aren't there more? I don't know, but there are 7 consonants. And before that, there was 1, right? Pangea. So as a kid, you learn the word consonant in the context of large masses of land, right? Bodies of land that are on the earth, and each continent has a set of countries, or Antarctica has penguins.
Yes.
So like, for example, we live on the North American continent. Can confirm. So we learned this word in like, I don't know, first grade, grade school, sometime, however you classify grades, age 6, thereabouts. We learn, we internalize, we utilize, no questions asked. We never think about, why is this called a continent? It's just the label that we were told, and we learned it. We memorized it for the vocab test, and maybe you had to spell it.
Excuse me, don't forget about the state exam. We also memorized it for that.
You memorize it for the state exam, and then once you get to high school, you have to know, like, what countries on what continents were on what side of the wars and all that. So, and, you know, in ancient history, it helps understand the expanse of certain empires across multiple continents. Here's the etymology of continent, as in landmass. All right. So, it comes from the Latin, surprise, terra continens, which means continuous land. Terra means land. No surprise there. Continens means continuous, like something that keeps going. Great. In the mid-16th century, it denoted a continuous tract of land, probably like a serf was working on a lord's continent or terra continents. I don't know. I don't like that.
I'm trying to envision a lord saying, "Ah, yes, welcome to my continent."
I know.
It's like, no, sir.
I feel like they have the ego to do that, though. But then, like, the king comes through, and the king's like, I actually transcend continents.
But, I mean, valid. But also, I'd like to think that there were humble lords at some point just saying, like, wow, I definitely don't have a continent. I have an estate. Crazy.
Wow, that's really, really hopeful and optimistic of you.
I try. Optimism needs to show up somehow, some way. And why not in these hypothetical lords?
So these hypothetical lords and people, it's all the way to us in the 90s in grade school. Yeah, continents are masses of land, and that makes sense, and I'm not questioning it, right? Thinking this is the root word, one and done, terra continens is where it comes from, and that's all there is, and it's all there ever will be.
Latin wouldn't lie to you.
But it turns out Latin is a fickle biatch.
Fickle bitch she is.
So we're fast forwarding. I go on to encounter this word once again later on in like my late teens, maybe like 20-ish. So I was in college, and at that time I was also working in a pharmacy. So I was surrounded by a lot of medical terminology for the first time, kind of like bombarded with it. An older patient in the pharmacy approached me to ask for medicine, and she needed help with her incontinence. I blinked. I didn't know what she meant. I kind of just assumed she didn't know what she was talking about because I was 19 and I wasn't humble at all. I was like, hold on, I can't help you anyway. I'm in college, so let me go get my boss. So I went over to the boss and I was like, this lady's asking about like continent pills. What is she talking about? So my boss explained to me that was a medical condition related to the inability to control your bodily excretions. And he goes, that's the state of being incontinent. And I was like, he said incontinent, which means there's an opposite. So continent means you're able to control your bodily functions. But continent means mass of land. How does it come to mean bowel and bladder control?
And again, just to kind of break it down, in is essentially, it means not. I was going to say different or indifferent.
Oh no! Another journey down etymology doesn't always work avenue here.
Oh, we will go down that one in a different episode.
Comment if you want us to complain about different and indifferent, because that just made me very upset.
God. I always complain about people being inefficient.
There you go.
There we go. Efficient and inefficient. That's a better example. So sorry.
So in this case, efficient means you're able to do something in a seamless way, and inefficient is the exact opposite. You are unable to do that. So
you can't. You cannot.
I was like, wait, what is the common ideology? Oh my God. What is the common etymology here? Where do these words come from? So I tried to break it down in other ways. I even like broke off that prefix con from continent, but tenent is not a root, continent. That didn't make any sense. So then there I was thinking about, oh my gosh, like, is that why Pangaea broke up? Like, she became incontinent and made 7 continents. And I just, for years, I just never thought to look it up, but it was always something that when I encounter this term, I'm always like, I know what it means, but like, why does it mean that? So guess what?
But what does it mean? What does it mean?
It comes from the Latin verb contenere, which means to contain or to hold together, restrain oneself.
Oh, that's where contain comes from.
Bingo.
Like container.
And that is the alternate root word for continent. So we've got terra continens, continuous land, and we've got contenere, holding together or restraining oneself, which restraining oneself in that case, I feel has a very negative connote, but there is another definition of continent.
Oh.
Continent in this medical sense. So it also means to restrain sexual urges.
Ooh.
So if you're incontinent in that respect, you're unable to do so. Just why? And they are spelled exactly the same, but you can see the roots aren't the same. The usage over time was never the same. And then one of them is a very specific like medical dictionary word that most people wouldn't use, and that's probably why a lot of us don't encounter it until either it happens personally in some way in your life or you're in a medical setting.
Yeah. Or like, if it, like you said, it's happening to you personally, your doctor says it in front of you because they're like, oh shit, I'm not talking to another doctor. I have to break that down for you. When we're thinking about like field specific things, typically that would be like a tier 3 type of word, meaning like literally you're only going to hear it there.
Whereas the other version of consonant is like tier 2 word. So it's a more common like academic word because it represents land masses.
Yeah. I feel like
you're the teacher.
It would like straddle the line between tier 1 and tier 2.
Do you? Tier 1?
Low key.
Interesting.
Low key. It depends on a few things. And it's been a while since I've encountered the terminology tier 1. Isn't it tier 1 that it's like closer to you, that it's like you encounter it more so like in everyday use, you talk about it with like mom, dad, family. Then tier 2 would be like not necessarily discipline, but like academia. Then tier 3 is discipline.
Yes, that's a great way of explaining it. That's kind of why I wasn't sure what to say, because I feel like that was a word I learned early on, and it became like a very common vocabulary word that was easy to understand and like help me then learn. It was like the foundation word to learn geography and more about history. So that's why I was like, is it 1 or 2? But I wouldn't say it's a tier 3 word.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Unless you in the medical field, mama.
Well, right. Then in that case. I did find a tier 2 vocab list from some HPCSD school. Thanks. From 2014.
Thanks,
so I don't know who, I have no clue who or where or what or when. But it looks like continent was a 3rd grade tier 2 vocabulary word in 2014 at this place.
Shout out to you, grade 3 tier 3 vocab word list. Ew. You did that.
Yeah, whereas a tier 3 word would be like polynomial, because that's very specific to algebra.
Why are you bringing up polynomials, bro?
It was on the list.
Like, that's just no. We don't, just like we don't talk about Bruno, we don't talk about polynomials. Although I'm not gonna lie, I think when I was doing them like more often, I slaughtered them in the best way.
Polynomials?
Yeah. But if you ask me to do, girl, right? That's FOIL.
FOIL is
first, out, inner, last. Get at me.
But it creates the polynomials, right? When you're doing the foiling.
No. I thought the polynomials were anyway.
Remember in that intro video when we said this was an English language channel? So like what we can do here is tell you what polynomial means from the Greek roots of it. That's what we can do today. Unless Claudia wants to foil something.
Girl, I will foil anything any day because I still remember what it stands for, just like PEMDAS.
Not PEMDAS.
Listen, that was drilled in my head. That tier 3 word right there was drilled in my head in 5th grade.
Horrendous.
Oh, trauma. It's giving trauma. I feel like probably prior to the 1900s, you were definitely hearing continent more, like in both ways, like probably because let's face it, although they didn't know much about medical things or they were still learning about medical things back in the 1800s, they just sounded smarter.
They did. Even if we had body snatchers to learn about anatomy, even if miasma was the source of disease before the sewage expedition in London, before Listerine was invented, they still sounded smarter than we do.
Listen. We both, as we've established, love Broadway. Yes, we both love Hamilton. Sorry, not sorry. But leave it to Hamilton to make a salacious affair just sounds so like it's just so flippant eloquent. Like I cannot.
Nothing like, you made the wrong sucker a cuckold.
So with continent, we have a never-ending piece of land. And then incontinent. Essentially, you cannot maintain your bowels. You cannot maintain a mass.
Interesting. I was trying to make that connection with continuousness or continuity.
Yeah.
What the heck is the noun for continue? Continuity.
Yeah, that's the what?
Oh no.
I'm like, is this a true question? Because I'm pretty sure you just said it.
Oh man. The continuation of holding your excretions, your bladder, your bowels, whichever it might be, your urges.
Your cellular waste.
Continuing to hold in the waste continent. Incontinent, thus being the opposite. And that is how you make them antonyms. She did it.
What I tell you, BA and BS, baby.
And by them, I mean the landmass and the medical term are now officially antonyms. Forget continent as in holding. We're talking continent as in land, as in
mass. Also, on a side note, I've only been able... Oh, no, that's an ocean. At one point, I was listing seas. I've only named 4 and an ocean.
Interesting. Well, hi Google. How many seas are there? The 7 seas include the Arctic, North Atlantic, South Atlantic, South Pacific, Indian, and Southern Oceans. The exact origin of the phrase 7 seas is uncertain, although there are references in ancient literature that date back thousands of years. Like Sinbad.
I wrote... Hold on now. Pause. Indian? Isn't that an ocean?
Apparently the Indian Ocean is one of 7 seas.
Well, then I didn't have an ocean. I had a sea.
Wait, I'm going to make you more upset. So you know how on Google there are like alternate versions of your question that are listed below? So someone else has asked similarly, or AI, how many oceans and seas are there in the world? There are 5 ocean names are the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Arctic Ocean, and Southern Ocean. Today we have 5 bodies of water on our one world.
Yeah. So in terms of seas then, what I had was the Red Sea, Mediterranean, Caribbean, Caspian.
Wow.
And I wrote Indian.
None of them are there. Wow. Those are probably like micro seas that fall within the larger category of sea, and those 7 seas fall within the 5 larger oceans. And that's that on taxonomy.
Wow, that's just...
But wait, there's more. What you're doing is this wiki article, which is list of seas.
Oh, Black Sea!
There are 76 of them. And all of the ones you just listed off are in this list.
Wow. I'm just, you know what, over it. I did my best. I was like, wow, I got it. Ooh, first one, come winds of the Caspian Sea. Done. Like,
I am learned.
Geography sucks. Anyway.
What's a polynya? Polynya.
Is it anything?
It's an area.
Polynomial?
It's, well, poly like many. So yes, actually.
Ooh.
But no. An area of open water surrounded by sea ice. Oh, it is a loan word from Russian. So we don't have any expertise in this area, so I'm now going to cancel the conversation. Let's move on. I can't speak on Russian derivatives. But that explains the nia sounds.
True. Question, how many C's did you say there were?
72. Marginal C's. Excuse me. Those are called marginal C's.
There we go.
Oh no. Wait, what's happening? Are we in our... What's going on?
I changed the title of the episode.
Oh no.
The 72
marginal C's of incontinence. Welcome to episode 4. Before we rate the word, before we rate the word.
That's what's happening here. I'm just making myself laugh.
Before we rate our homographs today, we just want to reiterate that you've been listening to Evilly Yours English, episode 4, the 72 marginal C's of incontinence. So thanks for getting this far. Like and subscribe.
In the chaos, that is us. Thank you.
Like, subscribe, follow, enjoy. Tell us what words you need explained, and see where we take them.
But now we need to rate this word. Christina.
Okay.
I think you do.
So, as a reminder, our rating scale, we have 7 features that we're going to rate upon. We'll go through them one by one, and they're on a scale of 1 to 3. 1 being some low quality, 2 being a medium quality, and 3 being a high quality. And that will make more sense in a second. So as far as functional usability of consonant and incontinent goes, you just mentioned like consonant like land. We use all the time. It's literally a tier 2 word. It's super common, and almost, I think most folks could define it. Whereas it's homograph, consonant as in the medical terminology, being able to control your bladder and your bowels, I would say that's way less usable, and most people wouldn't say that unless it was very personally relevant to them, or you're a doctor.
True. Very true. Very true.
I would give it a 2.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, mainly because of continent the land.
Yeah.
And the fact that I literally never heard of the medical term until you brought it up.
In my rage.
Pronounceability, honestly, I'd give it a 3.
High. Yeah, easy.
Because we've had such early exposure to it, it's easy to kind of like transfer it. Now, if it was the same like spelling and completely different emphasis on different letters and stuff, then I would be like, that's a hard one. Hard one.
I'm with you. Our third category, we've got emotional evocation. So how does it make you feel? I feel absolutely nothing when I think about consonants.
That's rude.
The landmass is a noun. I feel nothing. I don't get excited.
Girl, you live on one.
I live on a continent. Like it doesn't matter. The only time it doesn't even like spark joy if I'm traveling, because I'm thinking about the place, the specific like city I'm going to. I don't think about like I'm going to Antarctica.
No, you're a liar. Because whenever I say, oh man, you're going to Europe, that's nice, you're like, yeah, I am. Like,
I'm thinking about London, though. I'm not thinking about the continent.
The continent of Europe.
Now, alternatively, so I would give that continent a 1. Continents and incontinence, as in the medical terminology, that is a highly charged word. I would say a 3 because it implies some level of loss of control of something that we might have taken for granted, or something you have to prescribe something for, or something that happens while you're in a hospital. And I think that is definitely an emotional term once you have to learn it. So I'm giving this one a 2.5. What about you?
Ooh.
Did you know we could do decimals here?
I was today years old, friend. I would say For me, it would be like 1.5 or 2, only because, like, not necessarily the landmass, but like the medical term, I feel if somebody in my family was experiencing that, I'd probably feel like that emotional. But like currently as it stands, it'd probably be closer to a 1.5 for me.
So that means this required a calculation. So math brings us to a 2. I have to take the average of our votes here. So that one lands at a 2.
The maths. Excellent.
Mouth feels yours.
I mean, feels nice. It doesn't bother me. I like it.
Continent.
I like her.
Incontinent.
It doesn't like sit weird in your mouth or anything like that. So I give it a 3.
Yeah, I agree. Without considering any deeper than just saying the word, a high mouthfeel feels just great. All right, the length of the word continent.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, she's a 3. 3 syllables.
I love her. Ooh.
It's a good spelling word, for, I guess, 3rd graders.
As we learned.
As we learned today here on this channel. You heard
solid tier 2 word for 3rd graders.
Gotta spell it. Easy to sound out as well in its length. Like every sound is present. Mm-hmm. It like letter to sound ratio.
Yeah. Semantic impact. So essentially, like the connotations that are coming with it when you're saying it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, and how specific is it? So they are specific. That's the whole thing with tier 2 and being the tier 2 and tier 3 word is there aren't really synonyms for these things.
Not really.
So they are highly specific.
Yeah, really the only synonym that you could think of for like the land that is a continent is a definition, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But not like a singular word.
Yep.
So I would say solid specificity on that. Tree.
I agree. 3 for both definitions. For all the definitions. Ugh.
And then reliability to its roots.
So you've got 2 roots here,
which was unexpected. Very unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that they do both rely pretty well to like and hold true to their roots, honestly. And I'm sorry that they do because I feel like that's gonna further bother you.
So yeah, I would say my guess is terra continens. So continens being continuous probably is related to the verb continere in some way.
Probably. Likely.
So what, and that actually, I just got the idea from you when you pointed out that they both have like continuity in common, sort of. So I think somewhere down the line, they both are derived from the sense of something that is ongoing, continuous.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say,
yeah,
a 3.
You're so mad.
Yeah, I am. I was expecting it to be a -3. I was like ready to just give up and not talk about this topic ever again, but.
And then I flexed my bachelor's. You're welcome. We have come to the conclusion that it seems that this word pretty much slaps. It's definitely better than last ones.
The last word, yeah.
The not dry one, you know.
The not dry word.
You know. The not dry word. But it's also not wet. You know the one. You were there. But anyway, we have reached, unfortunately, the end of our digressions. Digression? Yeah, sure, I love that. And our lovely episode. And so, just know that our pod notes are available via Google Doc on our Linktree. And you can find that on our Instagram at evilly.yours.english and our YouTube, Evilly Yours English. And guys, we started posting on TikTok. We only have one at the moment, but she's there. And that handle is evilly.yours.english. And in addition to some original content, we will be adding some highlights from video pods so that you can see both of these beautiful faces more. And I'd like to think that our banter is hilarious. And also don't forget to follow us on Spotify at evilly.yours.english. Join us for our book club episode. We're reading The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Get on it.
Yeah, not the 7 C's of Evelyn Hugo.
No, definitely. Or the 72. That would be crazy.
That would be crazy. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much. See you next week. Anyway, bye.